Hi, team. Welcome to this knowledge transfer session on AutoRAG, our self improving RAG platform with the autonomous knowledge compression. Myself, Mandeep Sharma, I go by Andy. I am walking you through the full picture today, what the product is, the problem it solves, how the architecture works, where we stand against the competition, and what our business plan looks like. By the end of this, you should be able to explain AutoRAG to anyone, a customer, a recruiter, a partner, in your own words. So let's get into it. What AutoRAG delivers. So, what is AutoRAG in one breath? It is a platform that builds and continuously improves AI document question answering systems without manual tuning and without labeled data. That is the line to remember. Everything else flows from it. We are not positioning this as another RAG platform or framework. We are establishing a new category, which is autonomous AI quality systems. The strategic vision is to be the operating system for RAG quality, the platform every enterprise AI team reaches for when they are moving from a prototype to actual production. Four capabilities matter most. First, fully automated pipeline construction, zero engineering overhead to get a RAG system running. Second is multi-layer evaluation without labels, where you get objective quality scores without a labeling budget. Third is the real-time trend monitoring, where we catch quality degradation before your users notice. And the last but not the least, closed loop self improvement, where the system gets smarter on its own without doing any retuning cycles. Hold on to that framing, closed loop self improving. I will come up again on that. Moving on to the next slide. The problem we solve. Now, why does AutoRAG need to exist? Well, building a good RAG system today is a slow, manual, and mostly a guesswork. There are five compounding pain points, and no tool on the market address those pain points. First one is I would like to walk you through from left to right across the cards. First one is the manual tuning across five layers. Those five layers are chunking, embedding, retrieval, prompts, generation. Each one needs separate experiments. That is 2 to 3 engineering days per iteration cycle per cycle. Yeah. Second, no clear scoring system where teams judge quality by gut feel and a handful of sample inquiries. There is no reproducible bar to ship against. 3. No automation. Every configuration change means a developer manually running experiments from scratch or rerunning experiments from scratch. Engineering velocity stalls in that case. 4. No reliable quality gate. Teams end up shipping without actually knowing whether the system hallucinates in production or no. That is a customer trust problem waiting to happen. Fifth, no ground truth data. Labeling dataset is expensive. Most organizations skip the evaluation entirely and they just hope for the best. The natural question is, why is this solvable now? There are three reasons for that. LLM API costs have dropped roughly tenfold in the last 18 months, which makes autonomous multi agent or orchestration economically viable or feasible. Enterprise knowledge base deployments are mainstream now these days because there is a demand, huge demand of that. And lastly, the LLM as judge evaluation has gotten reliable enough to replace human labeling for most RAG use cases. So the gap is real. That's why we would like to develop this product. And the momentum is also right. Moving on to next slide. 7 agent closed loop architecture. This is the heart of the product. 7 agents in a closed loop are ingest, build, evaluate, observe, diagnose, improve, deploy, and repeat. No manual tuning at any stage whatsoever. Let me walk through each one of them. One is the first one is ingestion agent, where we load, clean, and chunk the documents. The documents, whether PDF, HTML, plain text, any kind of document. So any format ready for retrieval in minutes. To the builder, where we construct the embedding and retrieval pipeline from config file. Production pipeline in under 5 minutes, which is done. So zero code in this stage. 3. The evaluator. This one is important. It generates 50 synthetic test questions from your documents, and it scores the pipeline across 4 dimensions: objective, repeatable, quality measurement without any labeling effort. 4. The observer, where we monitor score trends over time, query success rates, failure patterns, and the cost versus quality trade off. This is our early warning system, and it is a capability literally none of our competitors have. Number 5, that diagnoser. When something goes wrong, it classifies the failure into one of 5 root cause categories. Engineers fix the right thing, they don't just know that something broke. Number 6, the improver, where we generate 3 to 5 optimized variants of the pipeline. We test all of them and pick the best one. This is the self-improvement engine. Human approval is configurable. More on that in a couple of slides. Number 7 is the deployer, where we push the best version with the health checks and version controlled rollback. So zero risk deployment, meaning every prior version is restorable in one click. That's the full loop. The observer feeds the diagnoser feeds the improver feeds the deployer, and we are back at the top. This is a loop, right? So observing again and again. So this system never stops in getting it better. Okay. Okay, pipeline configurator. Now, configuring a RAG pipeline correctly normally uh, requires expertise across 5 technical dimensions. That is a real barrier. We solve it with the pipeline configurator. Any user, and I do mean any user, no engineering background needed, answers 5 plain English questions. What is your domain? That drives the chunking strategy and prompt template. Who are your end users? That sets the language style and the completeness versus brevity trade off. What is your biggest concern? That tunes the scoring weights between faithfulness, speed, cost, completeness. How should improvement be applied? Auto, human in loop, or mandatory review? And where will it be deployed? That decides storage, security defaults, and infrastructure sizing. So 5 questions in. Okay, out the other side are a complete YAML pipeline config, a scoring weight profile, a domain appropriate system prompt, and this matters, a plain English summary of every decision the system made, which is editable at any time. One thing to call out is this runs on AutoRAG's own configuration engine. It does not depend on any external AI provider. Important point to Important point for enterprise customers worried about API dependencies and data leaving their network. Okay, but in our system, it's not depending on external sources like AI providers. On this slide, how do we actually know if a pipeline is good or not? So one number between 0 and 1 for every run. Score equals 0.25 times retrieval plus 0.35 times quality plus 0.25 times faithfulness minus 0.1 time latency minus 0.05 times cost. A few things to notice. Quality is weighted highest at 35%. That is the answer the user actually sees. Retrieval and faithfulness are tied at 25% each, getting the right context and staying grounded in it. Then latency and cost are subtracted. A fast, cheap, but wrong system should not beat a slightly slower, more accurate one. Three thresholds drive system behavior at or above 0.85, which is production ready, deploy, it flag as a best version, keep monitoring. Between 0.70 and 0.84 means it needs improvement. The improver agent kicks in and it tests optimized variants automatically. If it is below 0.70, then it blocks. The deployment is stopped and the diagnoser come into play and it runs root cause analysis. So one score apply apples to apples comparison across runs, across teams, across domains. That's the foundation. Everything else builds on. Okay. Approval framework and rollback. Enterprise governance. This is where deals get either won or lost. Okay, so pay attention to this slide. The improver does not just push changes blindly. There are three approval modes. Auto approve means these are for low risk changes where the score improves by at least 0.05. Things like top K, temperature, chunk size, etc. The size deploys automatically, okay, through a safe deploy protocol. Human in the loop. This is for medium risk changes like swapping a retrieval strategy. The dashboard shows the difference and the score delta, and the human reviews before deploy. This is the default for enterprise mode. And then mandatory gate. This is for high risk changes, okay. AI model swap, system prompt changes, embedding model swap, human approval is always required, okay. This cannot be overridden by design. This is a mandatory. On the rollback side, three auto rollback triggers fire if a deployed change goes wrong. So score would drop by more than 0.10. P95 latency exceeds 5 seconds or error rate exceeds 1%. Manual rollback is one click. Any admin reverts to any prior version and we retain 30-day of pipeline version. So rollback get targets at all time. The plain English is basically in plain English basically every deployment is a zero risk. There is always a safe fallback. Competitive capability scorecard. Let's talk competitive positioning. Four notable players in this space: Markers Inc., open source AutoRAG, the ARXIV research paper, Cloudflare's managed AutoRAG service, and ICT NLP's AutoRAG for agentic retrieval. If you scan the scorecard across the top, the picture is pretty clear. If you see your AutoRAG column, all the check marks are there versus other models. So building pipelines, three competitors, they do it, we also do it. Multi-layer evaluation, two competitors plus us. So far paritish, okay, comparable, I mean. But look at the rows below. Observer or trend tracking, nobody does that. Only AutoRAG. Failure diagnosis, only AutoRAG. Auto improvement loop, partial in two competitors, but we fully do it. No code configurator, we only do it. closed loop system, we only do it. The takeaway at the bottom is the line to remember basically. um, every competitor covers at most 2 to 3 of the capabilities enterprise teams require. However, AutoRAG covers all 7. That is our wedge. We are not slightly better, we are the only complete answer, okay? 4 distinct users. Who actually use this? 4 distinct users, each with a different definition of success. AI, machine learning engineers, they are sick of manual experimentation. AutoRAG gives them a systematic, reproducible framework. A pipeline that used to take 3 days ships in a single session. Data scientists, they need a objective, comparable retrieval experiments without a labeling budget. AutoRAG eliminate that bottleneck entirely with the synthetic QA from the document themselves. Enterprise team leads, they care about reliability, control, governance, um, but in our case, okay, uh, the production would be monitored. There are human approval gates, and there is a one-click rollback. No engineer call on the call. Independent developers, they want speed and cost confidence, single Docker command, scored, working AI endpoint. So those maps to 4 market segments shown along the bottom. At the bottom, enterprise AI teams, SaaS product companies, research organizations, and independent developers. Each one represents a different go to market motion, which is the perfect bridge to the last slide that I will cover. This is the business target and go to market. Here is where we are heading. 4 numbers to anchor on. 1.5 crore ARR in year 1. That's the annual recurring revenue target. 10 enterprise contracts to get there. 15 lakh average contract value, which is benchmarked conservatively against the tools like weights and biases, Datadog and Langsmith, which range from 12,000 to 30,000 USD. Composite score of at least 0.80. That's our product quality KPI measured on every pipeline we run. Break even sits at 8 customers. Customer 9 and 10 fund in year 2 development. We get there in 3 phases. Land phase, months 0 to 6. Founder led direct sales, 4 to 6 weeks paid pilot deployments with hands on onboarding. Goal is 10 enterprise contracts, 1.5 crore ARR. Then expand in month 6 to 12. The target is 1,000 GitHub stars, 25 plus customers. Then scale is month 12 to 24, where we add more features. Okay, and the target is 30 plus customers, 5 CR ARR. The motion is classic developer led, enterprise monetized. Prove value with the OSS community, convert the most demanding users into enterprise contracts. That is AutoRAG. Self improving, observable, governable. And as of today, the only product covering the full RAG life cycle. There is no product like that in the market right now. If you have any questions, drop them in the channel. I'm happy to dig into any of these slides in more details. Thank you for listening to me, and thank you for watching.